President Donald Trump visited storm-ravaged Puerto Rico on Tuesday, shook hands with the San Juan mayor he insulted on Twitter and remarked that relief costs could strain a federal budget. President Trump shakes hands with Mayor Cruz. He started his tour with a briefing that included San Juan Mayor Carmen Yulín Cruz, who told him, "It's not about politics." After she criticized acting Homeland Security Secretary Elaine Duke over the weekend for calling the federal response to Puerto Rico a good news story, Trump maligned politically motivated ingrates in the territory on Twitter. Budget concerns at a briefing with local officials in an airport hangar, he complained, perhaps as a joke, about the expense of the federal response to the storm. "I hate to tell you, Puerto Rico, but you've thrown our budget a little out of whack because we've spent a lot of money on Puerto Rico and that's fine. We've saved a lot of lives," Trump said. Gerardo Portelafranco, executive director of the Puerto Rico Fiscal Agency and Financial Advisory Authority, said on Tuesday that it may cost $60 billion or more to rebuild the territory. Without infrastructure and telecommunications, tax revenue is difficult for the local government to collect, so you're incurring extraordinary expenses without revenue, he said in an interview in San Juan. Trump suggested that with only 16 deaths officially attributed to the storm so far, the federal response appeared superior to George W. Bush's handling of Katrina in 2005. When you look at a real catastrophe like Katrina and you look at the tremendous, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that died, and you look at what happened here, with really a storm that was just totally overpowering, nobody's ever seen anything like this, Trump said. "And what is your death count right now? F-35 tangent." Trump invited military officials seated at the briefing to take turns discussing their role in the response, and after an Air Force representative spoke, the president went on a tangent about the F-35 fighter plane. "Amazing job. So amazing that we're ordering hundreds of millions of dollars worth of new airplanes for the Air Force, especially the F-35, Trump said, asking the representative, "Do you like the F-35? It's a game-changing, technological, awesome airplane," the unidentified representative said. "I said, how does it do it in fights and how do they do in fights with the F-35? Trump continued, apparently referring to a previous discussion he's had about the plane. He said, "We do very well. You can't see it. You literally can't see it. So it's hard to fight a plane you can't see." Right about 2 minutes later, Trump's chief of staff, John Kelly, approached him and whispered inaudibly in his ear. Testing Trump. The natural disaster has exposed Trump's inexperience at governing and raised questions about his ability to handle a major crisis. Trump's visit offers a chance to show his commitment to rebuilding an island that remains almost completely without power and short on food, water, medicine and other supplies nearly 2 weeks after Hurricane Maria. The trip, along with one on Wednesday to Las Vegas, after a mass shooting there, poses a test of his capacity to fulfill the president's traditional role of uniting the country in moments of tragedy. Puerto Rico's governor, Ricardo Rossello, and Kenneth Mapp, the governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands, which were badly damaged by Hurricane Irma, will also meet with Trump during his visit. Cruz said in a statement Tuesday that she had accepted the White House's invitation to attend the briefing at a National Guard base on Puerto Rico, and would stress to the president that this is about saving lives, not about politics. This is also about giving the people of Puerto Rico the respect we deserve and recognizing the moral imperative to do both. After the briefing, Trump toured a neighborhood damaged by the storm and posed for pictures with local residents. He observed that homes built of concrete seemed to have fared better than those made of wood. He told an older woman, "You're beautiful, we're gonna help you out," he told one family. Have a good time. President Donald Trump tosses paper towels into a crowd at Calvary Chapel. At a church, he again compared the number of deaths from Maria to past hurricanes and said the Federal Emergency Management Agency had done an incredible job. "The power grid honestly was being devastated even before the hurricane hit," he said. Franco said the island's power grid alone could cost $5 billion to repair. Inside the church, he handed out packages of rice to a crowd, and then tossed them rolls of paper towels, launching them into the audience as if taking basketball jump shots. Trump received applause, cheers and whistles. Stark contrast as Trump left Washington for the trip, he was unabashed in boasting about the federal response, describing the effort as incredible and comparing it favorably with aid after hurricanes in Texas and Florida. "In Texas and Florida, we got an A+, and I'll tell you what, I think we've done just as good in Puerto Rico, and it's actually a much tougher situation," Trump told reporters outside the White House. Now the roads are clear, the communications are starting to come back. On the ground in Puerto Rico, 93% of homes still lacked electricity as of Tuesday and less than a quarter of the population had mobile phone service. The president waited 8 days to waive restrictions under the Jones Act that limit which ships can deliver relief supplies, and he also was criticized for tweeting more about football players kneeling during the national anthem in the days after the storm than about the crisis on Puerto Rico. The bankrupt territory's recovery stands to be long and expensive, with serious implications not just for Puerto Rico's residents but also its bondholders, U.S. taxpayers, and perhaps even Trump's political prospects. Puerto Rico's $74 billion of debt cripples its ability to raise money on its own. One potential outcome, should rebuilding bog down, is that some of the island's 3.4 million residents, who are American citizens, could relocate en masse to Florida and other mainland states. Even before the storm, Puerto Rico's fiscal plan released in March projected that the island's population would decline by 0.2% a year during the next decade. You're not going to get hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans moving to the states, you're going to get millions, Rosello said Tuesday at a news conference. You're going to get millions, creating a devastating demographic shift for us here in Puerto Rico, a brain drain. Oxfam, which rarely responds to disasters in the U.S. and other wealthy countries, said Monday that it would start work in Puerto Rico amid the slow and inadequate response the U.S. government has mounted, said Oxfam America's President Abby Maxman. The U.S. has more than enough resources to mobilize an emergency response but has failed to do so in a swift and robust manner, with assistance by Toluzo Arenepa, Nathan Crooks, Jonathan Levin, Kathleen Hunter, and William Selway.